DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574. Since 1937, the difference has been DeSanto Propane.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo, joined, as always, by the man, the myth, the legend himself, a weary traveler, much like me, Nick Felice. Nick, good to see you in the non-basketball setting that we've seen each other in the past, week now, pretty much? So
Yeah, it's pretty much over now, and it was not as long a ride as usual as I've been used to, but, still a fun ride. Still got some sectional champions, so that was cool to see. Doing well. Been a rough couple days for some fans, Yankee fans and golf fans, losing Garrett Cole and Tiger Woods for the seasons. But
well, the baseball one we'll obviously talk about more in depth in a couple weeks, obviously. I will say, I guess I've been very much so the minority overall and also minority of Yankee fans. I don't view it as a necessarily world-ending deal in this sense with Garrett Cole. I know it's called me crazy, but
oh my God, you're crazy.
Well, no, it's just like we're not even. Look, is it a bad spot to be in for the Yankees? Obviously, I'm not stupid at that. But it's baseball. We haven't even played a single regular season game yet. We don't know if that injury would make a difference or not in the long run.
But isn't it fitting? The first day he gets the surgery, Pirates just spank the Yankees yesterday 9-1.
Well,
in Bradenton. You don't come into Bradenton and expect to come out with a W.
You know what they say Bradenton is? The inland version of Sarasota.
Sarasota, our rivals.
Not even a team in Sarasota anymore.
But the Tiger ones was a little, what happened? When did he do this? When did he rupture his Achilles?
That's the thing, right, on the Tiger front. And I don't know. I've said now for a few years he should just be done. Your body is just failing you at this point. It does again, right? It does suck, but I don't know. Look, it's different for us. We never played professionally. We played high school and the stuff kind of surrounding it outside of it. In that sense, we didn't necessarily have a say, quote unquote, when our careers ended, right? But I just view it as if you get to that point, just go. I get going out gracefully, and you want to go out gracefully. But man, I would just be like, if my body was failing me like that, especially after all he's been through, just we already know you're the greatest, at least of our generation. Just wave the flag, man. It's okay.
Yeah, majority of athletes do not get to decide when their careers end, whether that's by, front offices or injury.
Choice, yeah.
And Tiger's a guy, obviously 49 years old, and he obviously does not want to give up the game.
Yeah.
He still continues
and I get
to
it.
try after injury after injury.
And maybe golf is the one sport where you can kind of get away with it, I guess.
Sure, could he golf again? Yeah, he could golf again. I don't think he's going to retire. He's going to at least golf again, whether that's 1 or 2 years from now.
Right.
But he'll be back. He just won't. He'll never win again.
No. Yeah. I consider ourselves that we got lucky that he had the 2019, and that includes obviously the Masters, but really the season that was 2019 overall from him.
Yeah, he had a good year.
Because frankly, even at that point, he was on borrowed time. We already knew about the back and also the leg issues he was having before the car wreck. That ultimately, at this point, to me, is really just. I don't mean to do the pun or anything like that in this way, but really put the nail in the coffin more or less for him.
Yep, sad to see.
Yeah, so
definitely.
Either way, we got March Madness to talk about. Really, is the bulk of it, right? I know we aren't technically in March Madness yet, but we got tickets being punched, so we'll talk about the conference.
Who's saying that? Who's saying it's not much, man?
Well, in the sense of, the traditional, we don't have the music going and all that deal. But look, conference tournaments are happening. We'll talk about tickets that have been punched, what will be punched. Kind of the teams we're keeping an eye on here that are on the alleged bubble watch and stuff like that we're kind of eyeing. And then we got NFL. The new year, I guess, technically hasn't started, but we're in the legalized tampering period, which
it's a new year.
It's whatever. We're in the NFL new year. We got a lot of headlines already being made, so we're going to talk a little bit about that too at the very end. But first, thank a couple of our sponsors, including Auburn Auto Group. When it comes to selection and service after the sale, Auburn Auto Group has been the premier destination for new and used car buyers for close to 40 years. Among the brands offered on Route 5 in Auburn, including Chevrolet, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Honda, Toyota, and Subaru. And thanks to their wide range of makes and models, you're sure to find your new or used car at Auburn Auto Group and Dewey's Tavern. Within walking distance from downtown Seneca Falls, just across the Bridge Street Bridge, you can play quick draw, lottery, 19 televisions for all your sporting events, like March Madness. Great food for lunch or dinner with bocce, dart, and pool leagues. You can check them out online at deweysthirdward.com. Ever played Dachi, Nick? Just made it up.
Sounds fun.
Made it up on the fly as I stumbled over my words. Yeah. So we're in the middle of conference tournament play. I know you're keeping a close eye, obviously, on your Notre Dame Fighting Irish, much like I am keeping a close eye on my Syracuse Orange.
Yeah,
but, it's a fun. I call week and a half because you obviously have conference tournaments really started last week. We already have tickets punched. We'll talk about a couple of those teams because there was some tournament implications involving really mainly one, but kind of two along the way there. We have slippers being potentially fitted. We have teams who have never made the big dance on the verge of potentially making it. So it really is a fun time of year. I know we'll talk more in depth, obviously, about the brackets and stuff like that when they get announced next week, because Selection Sunday is this upcoming Sunday. But really the run-up, always great this time of year. I remember, as probably a lot of students do throughout, not just here in Seneca Falls, but obviously locally, widespread through the Finger Lakes and really all central and western New York. Shout out to the old TVs being rolled out on those carts, watching the Big East tournament back in the day, for Syracuse purposes and educational purposes. I got you, teachers out there. Don't you worry to hide you on that front.
A lot of times Syracuse always played the noon game too, so they were always on during school hours, and those are some great memories. Especially this time of year, this week. Not so great memories 5 years ago, but as you all know. But yeah, great memories. I'm locked in. Notre Dame, North Carolina. Got my phone over here. Game's about to start less than 5 minutes. But hoping to, send those Tar Heels to the NIT.
Yeah. Well, I do want to talk. That's interesting you brought that up. Save some NIT talk, because I do want to talk a little bit about, and I think it's fair we do it this week, kind of the new look postseason landscape that's outside of the NCAA tournament.
I know. Yeah. That'd be interesting. But, conference tournaments, tickets have already been punched. I thought a little bit of a surprise yesterday, even though they didn't have the greatest season. Was Vermont, the American East?
For you, yeah. That'd be surprising maybe for you.
I got a good friend named Nate Severance. Shout out, Nate.
Multi-time shout-out person.
Early shout-out. Who's lives in Vermont, pretty close to Burlington. And
Catamounts.
The Catamounts, obviously a soccer school, men's soccer school now. But
men's hockey.
But basketball, they had won the American East 3 years in a row, and they had won it 6 out of the last 8. Even though one of those 2 years they didn't was UMBC, who knocked off number 1 Virginia. But so it's tough to see them go. But they didn't have the greatest year. It looks like Bryant might win the conference this year.
Well, yeah. I want to talk about them though in a few minutes, because they involve one of the teams who could make their first ever NCAA tournament in that game. But yeah, it was an interesting year. Vermont did have, I guess, for them a down year. They weren't below 500, I don't think, but
no, they were the 2 seed.
Tough year for them in the grand scheme of it.
Still a great run.
Yeah.
Great program.
It's interesting because, like I said, some of these conference tournaments, just the way that the conferences try and get TV rights and get seen, they have to go fairly early on. And some of these conferences, like you bring up the American East, they're a conference that does it this way. It's home court, higher seed hosts, and it's always fun and interesting to kind of see how things kind of get divvied out. It's interesting. Shout out to the Atlantic Sun, Lipscomb, which won the Atlantic Sun, hosted the championship game, and it's interesting. They played Northern Alabama. Interesting to see how different conferences do things with that too, because you could tell Lipscomb, I would say, still had a home court advantage, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 40% to like 45% of the arena at Lipscomb, the gym there, was North Alabama fans. And it's a pretty interesting dynamic because if like you're playing that game in the regular season, it's nowhere close to that by any means. But
so much on the line.
Right, that title game, I'm like, damn, like this is like it was just constantly loud. It didn't matter who had the ball. It was really kind of cool and interesting to kind of watch it play out in real time.
That's a great thing about college basketball is every conference gets represented in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Only RIP Pac-12. Only 31 teams now, not 32
for now.
But one more at large for this year.
Yep.
And I also love the American East. 11 a.m. start championship time Saturday morning. I love that time.
Gets it going.
But cool to see the home courts. Did you see the Sun Belt Conference tournament this year?
I did. That was in Pensacola, I believe, right?
Did you see the format?
Yeah, so they're not the only conference to do it that
really?
way. Yeah, the West Coast, the WCC does it that way, or you're talking the tiered.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of like they do that. They do that in bowling.
Right. Yeah, it's actually it's exactly the right comp to do it. But yeah, the West Coast Conference does it that way. They might be the only two, but I feel like another conference does it that way.
If you don't know what we're talking about, if you're like one of the worst teams in the Sun Belt, you have to win like 7 or 8 games.
Which I don't have a problem with it being
you didn't
that
do
way.
as great as the other teams. The other teams, the top 2 already go into the semifinals, and it's just boom, boom. You got to keep taking them. It's almost like a tennis ladder, too, type feel to it. So it's kind of cool. Definitely spices up the tournament, and it puts more on the regular season. The team that did better in the regular season get the better seeds in that tournament.
Yeah.
And, ACC's the same way, but it's a double bye.
Yeah.
I mean, you win a couple games. Syracuse, Notre Dame win today. They basically got a double bye. They're in that same
but they
part
played
of the bracket.
2 games,
Yeah. So, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
Women's conference tournaments are still going?
Yeah, they're all done now.
They're all done.
Yeah, they're all done.
Yeah, I remember the one year the Big Ten played 2 weeks before, and it hurt them when it came to Selection Sunday because they had played so long ago.
Yeah, well, that was also
because they wanted it at the Garden.
Yeah, and
2 conference had at the Garden.
3 technically that year. I think that's why. It's because Big Ten wanted it, so like they were just like, yeah, you have to go like middle of February, and they did it.
Yeah,
which is stupid because the Big East and the ACC were having them at the Garden that year too. So I don't know. It's just dumb. And now luckily, I view it as luckily only the Big East has it there, and you don't worry and you move on. So
still sucks to see Syracuse not playing there.
But speaking of, the ACC tournament, we're in the middle of that right now. Obviously, we've mentioned a little bit. Kind of appears everything's kind of settled out for the most part in the ACC, barring anything uber crazy happening. Anything keeping an eye on with the ACC tournament?
Obviously today, I think there's North Carolina and there's SMU, who Syracuse Notre Dame happen to play. Definitely, you lose today, they're done.
Yeah,
I'm not putting them in the tournament if they lose.
Sure.
What hurts is because there's they're saying 11 Big Ten teams and 13 SEC teams are making a tournament.
Yeah.
There's not many more at-larges after that.
No.
And I don't know if you mentioned before the show, you were saying the teams that could get, had great small conferences.
Yeah, I was going to wait until we got to more of the mid-majors to have that
they could get hosed here because SEC and Big Ten got to be represented.
Yeah.
And if North Carolina or SMU lose today, they're done.
Yeah, I don't necessarily on the UNC side. I don't believe that. We had that talk off air too a little bit. Look, I know how you feel. We talked about this too. We on here numerous times too on air, so I don't have a problem saying this. You're not You're not big on the analytics side, which is funny because this time of year for college basketball, you do become an analytics guy because of the way Ken Pom and stuff like that plays out, because you just love college basketball that much. But you look at it, UNC is actually like a top 60 team in the country, period. Like, they actually aren't as bad as what UNC fans would want you to believe that they have been. And so to me, I don't think a loss today would knock them out. I think there would have to be what I would call some, frankly, March Madness happen in a couple other conference tournaments for them to be on the worried side. SMU, it's weird. Don't know how to fully feel about them.
They lose a Syracuse Day, they're done.
Yeah. Look, the way I view the ACC, Duke's good. UNC's good. Wake's good. Louisville's good. Clemson's good. I think they're only sending 5 anyway. I think
those guys last year was 5.
I think those ones that are in are in. I don't view necessarily much changing. I forgot how deep the Big Ten was this year, to be truly honest, until I realized, Maryland's the 2 seed. And that's not a knock on them or the Big Ten. I think that, again, speaks to the depth. It's interesting. People view UNC as a bubble team, and it's like, well, but Illinois is perfectly fine being in. Are they? They're essentially the same team.
Yeah.
But I think Illinois, 11 from the Big Ten is interesting because I guess I didn't fully give them credit because we were talking a ton about the SEC and how deep that conference is this year. Probably didn't give enough credit to the Big Ten. That being said, I think it's also because we just know how the Big Ten operates in our lifetimes in the Big Dance. So,
and the casual college basketball fan doesn't get to watch Big Ten much unless you actually put on Fox or the Big Ten network.
Sure, yeah.
Because ESPN doesn't have the rights to that
true.
league anymore, and they get a little biased on College Game Day. To be honest with you, you don't even hear about the Big Ten.
Right.
Don't even talk about it.
Well, that's the way it kind of was in football this year too. When you think about it, right?
They don't have the rights.
Yeah. No.
And it's a great conference. It's the second best.
Yeah.
The SEC is pretty top right now.
Yeah.
It'd be intrigued to see, because a lot of times when we've seen a conference get a lot of teams, double-digit teams.
Yeah.
And they tend to struggle, But the SEC has been so dominant this year. I cannot wait to see them go into this tournament to see how they do. Could they potentially have all 8 Elite 8 teams? is that crazy?
Could they? Yeah. Will they? No, I'm saying no. I mean, there's just, we know the way March.
It's March.
It's March. It's madness. One shining moment. Anyway, the SEC. I fully believe that they could get 13. I just think, again, talking. I mentioned a little bit with UNC. Just imagine there's going to be some chicanery somewhere that doesn't allow for it to happen. Could be wrong. Probably will be. But here's the interesting part. We talk about the SEC, right? And this is why. You mentioned, right, the TV rights thing. It's why I have a hard time fully diving into the stuff ESPN says about the tournament when, CBS has the rights and whatever else. And the past few years, I've gone fully over to the CBS side of things when listening to college basketball because, to me, they just have the better experts now for college basketball. They just do. And,
that's because ESPN doesn't put their money into that sport.
Correct. And, even though their money's with college football, frankly, I listen to college football guys on CBS more than I do ESPN even. I just think when you care more about the quality rather than the quantity, it shows. Different discussion for a different time.
Yeah.
But even even CBS is kind of favoring at least the 12 number for the SEC and to the 13 side. So, hard time believing we don't see at least that big a number from that conference. Where it gets interesting, right, is your Big 12s, your Big Easts. Maybe to a lesser degree, we mentioned the ACC, but only because, whatever.
They're the next tier,
yeah. What do we see from them? It ended up being not a great conference regular season for those conferences, as I'm calling it. We saw UConn, what we thought was going to be a just bump in a road type deal in November, this actually is probably a bubble team happen.
I know. It's crazy how much they've fallen.
We saw Kansas, who just a lot to be desired. I think they're fine, barring again, I think something really crazy going to have to happen with Kansas. But like, it's like one of those things where it's like, oh damn, they're solidified to be one of these top teams this year. Be like, oh crap, what happened? What's going on here? It's one of those things where it's like, I kind of do wonder, what do we see out of the Big 12? What do we see from the Big East this year? The Big East, I thought legitimately could send 6 to 7 teams at the start of the year to, I think, maybe 3 for sure, maybe 4, but like things are going to have to break right for that to even happen.
And that's the problem with the Big Ten and SEC getting all these teams. There's not that many spots.
Right.
And then you're trying to make cases for these other conferences like the Big 12 and the Big East. And then there's teams that are even smaller conferences that want to make a case. And you got to wait your turn basically. And
now, to be fair, we can probably jump a little bit into that now.
This is like, kind of the start of college sports maybe 40, 50 years from now. Is it just going to be the Big Ten and the SEC?
Right, and I think that's more for a football discussion where I see football is actually going to have to go this route. I've kind of accepted that. But, yeah, we can kind of jump into it now. I think the perfect example of this, and we brought it up off air, and I'm going to bring it here, is the Missouri Valley, where Bradley and Drake played in the conference title game for them on Sunday. Drake wins the title, so there's no worry there. But, Bradley, there was an interesting point this year in the Missouri Valley where they could have been a 2-bid conference, which they haven't been in a number of years. Yeah. And, I mean, if Bradley wins, Drake, in my mind, deserved to be an at-large bid team. And I just don't know if we would have seen it, and that's the part that sucks. And I'll toss in the Big West here too. And I know it trambles on a little bit what we're going to talk about here in a few minutes, but UC San Diego, first-year eligible team for the tournament. They're the number 1 overall seed in the Big West.
The favorites to win it.
They're the favorites to win it.
But
if they don't, they're probably on the outside looking in. They're going to need a miracle, probably getting at large, and that's stupid to me. It sucks. Because there's also another team, again, not to trample on here, but they're outside of the window of being a first-year eligible team in UC Riverside, where they haven't made the tournament yet, or Bakersfield, rather, apologies. Riverside's been in before. They're the 3rd seed. Like, if they were to win the conference tournament, like, you mean to tell me you're going to, like, leave UC San Diego? I'm like, God. Like, to me, it's ridiculous, but I know they will because there's only going to be like 1 berth available, and I just it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And I forget the name of the guy who went viral for it on CBS over the weekend, but I'm with him. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth for these kids, right? And look, I get it. Like, could a UC San Diego beat like a Duke? Like, whatever. Probably not. Probably, not 9 times out of 10. But, like, those kids work just as hard, frankly, if not probably harder than your kids on Duke and Auburn and Alabama and UNC and all that. Because, look, like, you're dealing with a smaller hand in that situation, right? You don't have big a deck to pull cards from when you're UC San Diego, when you're Drake, Bradley, these teams that I know, honestly, especially like a team, and me and I don't mean to keep kind of picking out, but like Drake, like Bradley, where, in all honesty, go look at these programs' histories. Like, they're actually historically good, just good programs, right? And even before NIL, like, just completely behind the 8 ball, just the way it operates now. And, I just view it as like, it just, I know the way it sounds like, well, it sounds like you want an expanded bracket, and I don't. I frankly wish we do not have 4 playing games, because first off, if you're going to have the playing games, to me, it should all this be for the 16 seeds, and not like, how can you not decide between who's an 11 and 12 seed at that point?
I know.
The way they do it, but whatever, it's here nor there, because to me at that point, then it just feels like you're trying to shoehorn in, power conferences more than anything else.
And it's been 68 for a while now.
Yeah, it's been pretty much 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
Either way, I just don't want to go to, like, I know they brought up 96 is the number right now that's really popular. And to me, it's just, no.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And that's why to me, and maybe this also introduces the discussion of the postseason tournaments, that's why to me I always really enjoyed the NIT. It was always these first couple teams out, but it also was a really good showcases for your teams like a Bradley or Northern Iowa, or the teams who are just on the outside looking in from the mid-majors who, like, go against, and, like, I remember, the Final Four in the NIT one year, this was back, we were still in high school, so I want to say it was probably 2010-ish, 2011, something like that. But, like, the Final Four for it was, like, I can't remember exactly, but I feel like it was, like, Maryland who was in there, who for them was just having, like, a down year at the middle of that point. But it was, like, it was something like Maryland, New Mexico, and, like, you had, like, a couple mid-majors in there. I forget who it was exactly, but, like, that's the reason why those tournaments, like, fully existed at that point, right? And that's why, to me, like, I genuinely love, and I love, and again,
at the Garden
it's something that goes back to, like, on the football side thing, but I just love, like, the mid-major small school element of it, because, like, that's where, like, college sports are, like, actually, like, genuinely fun, where it's like you're just going out there having a ball, but you get quality product, right? Like, cool, you lost one game all year or something, whoop-de-damn-do. Like, but you were probably spending more time, like, with high blood pressure, worrying about, like, losing again like that, where, like, over a mid-major, you're, like, just having so much damn fun.
And then the NCAA thinks because we give them an at-large automatic bid that's good enough. And
right.
There's some other teams that deserve a spot, and then the NIT. Vegas is cool too. I think that's where the Final Four is now for the NIT.
Yeah.
It used to be at the Garden, and that's a cool experience for these teams, and that's something to look forward to. Win 3 games to get there.
Yeah, and I know, like, not to drag, like, I guess you into this to this end, but like that was, like, always a cool thing, was the fact that you knew, like, the Knicks were on the road for, like, 2 weeks because you had the Big East tournament, you had the NIT, like, and you mentioned it for the kids, right? But, like, that used to be a very big thing for a lot of kids, was the fact that, like, cool, like, you're going to, like, Indianapolis for a national championship. I'm getting a championship in New York City.
Yeah, and you get to play long. You're playing as long as the Final Four teams.
Yeah, and you still are getting quality basketball out of it, like, more than anything else too. It's small.
And now, a perfect example last year was Syracuse didn't even go to the NIT.
So many teams said no, and this opens up now too, because, like, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. We have this tournament on Fox coming up here, which it feels like it's trying to take over the NIT, but it's literally built for just Power 4 conferences who didn't make the big dance. Yeah, it's literally built for these teams, and because there's, like, a pool of NIL money available, and it's like
people worried about that's going to become the real tournament,
right? But, like, to me, it's just like, and now it's, like, part of too, like, that in season, the MTE one in November that's happening there, and, like, whatever, the in-season one, whatever. I don't care. We sit here on this podcast and pound the drum how much we freaking love the Maui tournament, Maui invite. But, like, the postseason one to me is where it's really, frankly, I find gross, right? And I know, like, we sit here too and we mock the CBI and the CIT and everything like that. But, like, it was always giving, like, kids another just, like, few games to play and whatever.
Those ones were definitely, like, for those other small schools.
But, like, this one's just, like, so blatantly obvious that it's just for money for big schools, where it's like, like, gross. Like, and they aren't saying, and the teams don't have the ability technically to say no. I think they do, but it's like, they're not going to say no for a chance to, like, just by showing up, they're going to get money out of it. You know what I mean?
I wonder if, like, college football is ever going to go to, like, NIT, CBI, CIT tournaments.
Well, somebody brought up the fact they should do that for the mid-majors, and I just feel like that's just a way to get the mid-majors phased out of the actual playoff.
Yeah, just send them there.
Yeah. Which, again, no. Like, I understand, like, if you want to do an NIT for college football, I don't think – my main issue with that is if you have a problem with opt-outs now, like, buckle up for that, because, like, I don't think if you're –
Yeah, that's true. Because you're gonna have to play 4 games.
Yeah, like, I view that if you're like guy at, say, like, I don't mean to pick them out on this one. If you're at UNC, right? And they make this NIT tournament on football. And I'm just saying only because, like, Belichick is going to draw, like, prospects there.
You're right. That's a real problem.
And you miss it there, right? But you make this NIT thing, like, you're going to, if you're a top prospect, you're no way in hell I'm playing in that thing.
Yeah, you're right.
If I'm being totally
honest.
honest.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to all opt out.
So, yeah. Anyway, back to more on the basketball side of things. But, like, I just, like, that new one just feels, like, blatantly gross to me. I'm guessing you probably feel the same way at that point.
96 team?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. 60, I like the plans. It's like...
Well, that and I was talking to about that.
I like how it is right now. The plans give you a little tease for the madness that comes the Thursday, Friday, and I like how it is now. It shouldn't be any more. And then the debate for who's in and who's out is going to get ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're going to start debating, is this 17 16 team really should be in or not?
I mean, there's already technically a sub 500 team locked in. Ticket punched. Yeah, but that's here nor there.
In the bubbles, it's even gotten worse over the years.
Oh, I hate now how there's, like, first, what is it? Next 4 in, last 4 in, first 4 out, next 4 out. There's, like, yeah, I just, like, and it also might be because of just how I feel about the guy in general. Like, no one gives a shit, Lenardi. Like, we just don't.
But Ken Palm.
You did ask that earlier, but I don't know if you actually know. They
Jerry Palm.
They aren't related. I don't know if you've.
No, I didn't know.
Gotcha.
Jerry Palm's a geek. Is that the one on CBS?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a Jerry Palm guy, though. But Ken Palm's also quasi-CBS, fun fact.
But Joe Lenardi.
Yeah, no one likes Lenardi. All right, so we do have tickets punched already. Let's do a quick rundown here. I do have a cheat sheet today for that. Lipscomb in the Atlantic Sun, I'm kind of mentioned them already. The Big South High Point. That was actually a super fun game between them and Winthrop Sunday. The CAA, which is no longer the Colonial, but the Coastal Athletic Conference they go by now. Same organization. They were trying.
Never seen a conference actually change its name. It's
very
weird.
weird.
Go from Pac-10 to
Pac-12. I personally missed the Colonial Athletic Conference. Bring that back, but UNC Wilmington got the bid there. Robert Morris out of the Horizon, Drake in the Missouri Valley. This is your under 500 team, St. Francis out of the NEC.
Nice.
First tournament since 1991.
Jeez.
For them. Yeah.
No Ivy League to start the March Madness.
Nope.
Tickets punched. They're like last now.
In fact, they're one of the last teams going.
Yeah.
So
it's cool they got a tournament. I know it's been like 5 years now.
Right.
But it's cool.
Out of the Ohio Valley, SIUE. Don't call them Southern Illinois Edwardsville anymore. They want that acronym hammered home.
Going in?
They're in. Wofford out of the Southern. Out of the Summit, we have Omaha. We have Troy from the Sun Belt, and Gonzaga punched the ticket last night from the West Coast, which they were a bubble team there for a little bit. They got themselves kind of backed in.
Surprising Gonzaga St. Mary's West Coast championship game?
This year, a little bit, if I'm being totally honest. But that was only because Gonzaga was... For a moment, they were having a moment there midway through the year. I'm like, ooh, boy, this is getting interesting.
San Fran does put out good teams as well.
San Fran does. Santa Clara this year was good. Then they decided to lose to Pepperdine like absolute idiots. All right, we do have some tickets.
Pepperdine, PCA, you mean? Pacific Coast Academy.
Take a lap. We do have some tickets getting punched today in the Big Sky later on. Starch Madness, they call it. This is why I like the mid-majors, by the way. They have fun with their conference tournaments. They call their conference tournament Starch Madness.
Nice.
Montana.
What about Arch Madness? That's Missouri Valley.
That's Missouri Valley. See? Because it's in St. Louis. So, but it's Northern Colorado taking on Montana there. Also today, there we go. We have Navy and American in the Patriot. Navy upset Bucknell, who, again, a good example of should probably technically be in the NCAA tournament, but out in the semifinals, got upset by Navy.
Semifinals going to be tough. It's one thing losing championship,
right?
Losing semis.
Well, that's a good example, though, of a team that probably should be in as a bid, as a whatever, at large.
Whatever.
Yeah. And then also today in the Southland, Lamar versus McNeese. McNeese probably going to handle that. And then Will Wade will travel gallantly to Raleigh to take the NC State job. Oops, did I say that out loud? We do have one matchup locked in that I've already mentioned a little bit for Saturday in a championship game, but because of how I mentioned it's on home court of the higher seed, Bryant hosting Maine in the America East.
Yep.
Now, why
11 a.m. I love that start time.
Now, why did I mention that? Because Maine is one of a few teams remaining that has never made the NCAA tournament.
Like a 7 seed in the tournament, I think.
They're third seed.
Oh.
So.
Vermont.
Yes.
Yeah. Beat the 7.
Yep. But Maine, a 3rd seed, could make their first ever NCAA tournament if they win the America East.
And Maine's getting Flag's brother next year.
Mm-hmm.
Is he just not as good to go to Maine? I know they're from Maine.
In that sense, yes. But
that much worse? Like he couldn't even play somewhere else?
Well, the way I always put this is you have to remember, as much as people enjoy trying to dunk on Ron Baker was still Mr. Kansas basketball in his high school graduating class.
But he went to Wichita.
Correct. It's just one of those things where it's like, not that you do because you're smart. People need to check themselves at the door when they talk about people like that. So anyway, I mentioned the Big West with UC San Diego or UC Riverside.
That tournament's just getting going.
Yeah. 3rd seed. They're also having in the Metro Atlantic, the MAC. Two teams who haven't made the NCAA tournament have an option to there. Sacred Heart, the 7th seed, but top seed Quinnipiac. In the MEAC, Maryland Eastern Shore has never made it. They are the 8th seed out of 8 teams in that tournament. In the SWAC, Bethune-Cookman has never made it, the 3rd seed in that tournament. In the WAC, though, they have 4 teams alive that have never made the tournament. And I'm going to work myself backwards here a little bit. First year of eligibility for Tarleton State and Utah Tech. Tarleton is the 6th seed, Utah Tech the 9th seed. Cal Baptist searching for their first bid ever into the NCAA tournament. 3rd seed. Utah Valley's never made it. They are the 1st seed in the tournament, but they face Utah Tech today.
Ooh.
So
big rivalry.
Some stuff there. Yeah, the Utah's in the WAC. So a lot of fun stuff going forward. We'll have more on March Madness next week.
Yeah, next week we'll know the bracket next week.
Yep. All right, so one last thing to kind of really dive into here before we head out for the day, the NFL. A lot of interesting moving stuff already in this legal tampering period, even though the new year doesn't start until, I guess, technically tomorrow, but either way, whatever.
Who cares? It's new season.
Yeah, new year, the new year of the NFL's upon us. Lots of moving parts already.
Definitely.
Is the biggest move Kenny Pickett being traded to the Browns, and why? No. A lot of stuff, though, that was pretty interesting already.
I don't even know what the headline is.
That's the tough part. What is the headline?
The Jets really think Fields can work.
But that's the interesting part is we see a bunch of these teams giving contracts to quarterbacks where it's like, so this is what you're doing, huh? The Jets stay with Fields. The Colts do it in a weird way, bringing in Daniel Jones, which I guess they're doing a quarterback competition, right? Or if not, Daniel Jones is going to look really probably great as a Colt for weeks 3 through 18 next year, as I'm calling it. I hate doing it this way, and Matt, I apologize, but the Seahawks with Sam Darnold, yeah.
He actually didn't go for his thought as much as I thought he
No, money-wise, no, but it's a 3-year tie-up, which is probably, I think, technically 2 years, and that 3rd year is the option. But, yeah, and then I guess Seattle, frankly, kind of feels like they're just trying to completely get rid of the Pete Carroll era going on up there. Steelers bringing in DK Metcalf alongside George Pickens, which we laugh at, but I did not think about this until last night. I think DK is the George Pickens replacement. We're just going to have, I guess, 1 calendar year of Pickens and Metcalf together before they're just going to let Pickens walk in free agency next year.
The Raiders are the new Seahawks?
Yes, true. Geno Smith, obviously, reunited with Pete Carroll. Yeah.
But the Bills?
The Bills bringing in Joey Bosa. 1-year deal. interesting. I'm surprised the Chargers just kind of cut him. I guess I get it from the money side, but like for a division that admittedly feels a little bit more open than I think a lot of people may believe it is, kind of surprised the Chargers are kind of doing not a full reset in year 2 of Jim Harbaugh, but like really weird. It's strange the moves they made, right? They brought in Najee Harris. They let Josh Palmer go in free agency to the Bills. Cut Joey Bosa. I don't know, but they re-signed Khalil Mack. It's really weird.
Still don't have any fans.
Oof. They're in San Diego.
You know what Chargers fan? Do you know one Chargers fan?
I don't think so.
I don't either. And then, you know, like every NFL team fan, at least one. I don't know one Chargers fan. And if he does, I guarantee he says there's from San Diego.
You want to know what's weird is I feel like I do, but like I just can't like.
And if there is one and he knows me and I know you, and I forgot you're a Chargers fan, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
I feel the same boat, yeah. Like I feel like I do, but like I don't. Could be wrong.
And like I said, that person probably thinks they're still in San Diego.
Yeah. Fair.
But yeah, it's kind of what they're.
Actually, I just realized, not to interrupt, could the biggest headline be Myles Garrett requesting a trade, then signing for all that money and
Definitely.
And being told that, like, hey, we're going to bring in a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and the Super Bowl winning quarterback's Kenny Pickett?
I mean, what is this BS plan the Browns have told them to come back?
Yeah, I don't
or is it just all about the money like it is for most athletes?
It's definitely, I feel like it's mostly the Mr. Krabs meme of, and why did you build a Krusty Krab too? Money. like, I feel like it's pretty much that meme.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Not a knock on the Browns, but like, yeah.
DK Metcalf was obviously all about the money.
Yes and no. I just, like, the Seattle thing's weird to me, right? Like, I feel like they're trying to do what, like, Minnesota's done, but, like, they're just doing it worse. Yeah, Minnesota's also kind of now in this boat of, I guess they're going to roll J.J. McCarthy.
I think it's time. I mean, that was their plan last year.
I mean, I know. I mean, but what's their backup plan?
It could be worse. It could be your backup plan could be Zach Wilson.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that.
For a team that has Tua, to have a quarterback like Zach Wilson is crazy.
So, yeah. So, like, we talked about it a little bit a couple weeks ago, but, like, it was more inadvertently, but now it's, like, all the more real. Like, we know Rodgers wants to play. He's not going to retire.
Oh, surprised he's waiting for his decision.
And I know we talked a couple weeks ago about this, but, like, if you're the Giants, like, why would you bring him in? Like, if you're going to choose your veteran quarterback, if you're going to not do a quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
I would much rather just go Russell Wilson and deal with that headache as opposed to the Aaron Rodgers headache.
Seriously.
I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I personally think Rodgers is a better quarterback than Wilson right now. And it's not much. Better.
I don't know about
Better.
that. I
didn't say good. I said better.
I'm aware. I still don't know about that.
And I don't want either one. But I'm gonna go Rodgers.
Right.
Just because he can neither one can move right now in the pocket. And at least he still got that quick release. He can get rid of the ball, but Russell Wilson, he always holds on to the ball too long, and
yeah.
I don't know. I don't want either, but I'll take Rodgers.
I don't. The interesting part is they're both going to get screwed by their same, like, ego in this. Because, like, let's just look at it this way. You know Minnesota's going to be calling for some sort of veteran. Don't know who. But you know they're probably going to want some sort of veteran backup present of sort. Neither one of them's going to want to do backup things. Right? Same thing is probably going to happen in Tennessee to a degree and New York to a degree. And at that point, like, the quarterback job market kind of dries up pretty quick as it stands right now. Like, I don't know. Do you bank on, like, say, the Raiders come calling for either one of them. Do you take that deal just banking on the fact that you're going to be in a competition with Geno Smith?
No. I think both of these guys are very egotistical.
Yeah.
And they want their job. They want the starting job.
Right.
Neither one wants to be a backup. And in Raiders, you're going to have to fight with Geno.
Yeah.
And Geno's already got a relationship with Pete Carroll.
No, I'm just saying because, like, to me, like, the market, like, frankly, in my mind, is already pretty dry on the quarterback front, only because, like, what jobs are really technically available? Like, it's only Tennessee and the Giants.
And a lot of these guys are thinking rookie quarterback.
Yeah, and you know they're going to go after a rookie quarterback. Like, that's why the Pittsburgh thing is interesting. Like, which sword are they going to die on? Like,
and Russell Wilson ain't going back to Pittsburgh, so it's got to be Rodgers there, right?
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, that's what it seems like on paper.
And, like, that's the thing. Like, I kind of chuckle. Like, everybody's already doing it, and, like, I guess it's true. But, like, it also would be the most Steeler thing ever to me. Like, they're just, like, this is the hill they're dying on. Like, they're literally going out with, like, the thing that, like, came in with them. Like,
Steelers have just not found a quarterback since Ben Roethlisberger, and they'll do whatever it takes. It seems like the Colts are the same boat since Andrew Luck.
well, you can make the case on that front, really, since Peyton Manning. But
You could. But Luck,
I know what you mean.
Luck was all right, yeah.
Look, it's a two-way street on this one with the Colts specifically, just what we know about Richardson, but they've done him no favors. You know what I mean? Like, I get it, but it's a two-way street. Okay. Excuse me. That's all the road trip yesterday. Like, look at the way Carolina handled Bryce Young, right? Probably should have been more like that than what they did with Richardson.
Yeah.
Just my opinion.
I think every rookie quarterback should play and then sit.
Yeah.
Just to look back and see, learn from your
Well,
mistakes.
if it's bad, yeah.
If it's not going well.
Yeah.
Like Caleb Williams at times struggled.
Yeah.
I think he should sit back a couple games, just look at it and watch a guy like he had Andy Dalton, and that was a nice guy to watch and learn from that. And you're guaranteed to get your job back.
Mm.
You need to learn. And Bryce Young learned a lot.
Yeah.
We look at Bryce Young as a different quarterback right now.
Totally. Yeah.
Than a year ago.
100%. So, I don't know. It's been interesting. Yeah, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure we have. It just feels like this year has just been really chaotic start to the new NFL calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. That's pretty much all I got for this week. I know you wanted to mention Christopher Bell winning 3 straight.
I got some beef with your format in NASCAR.
Beef.
Yeah. We're 4 races in.
Yeah.
Chris Bell has won 3 races in a row.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
And he's not even in first place.
Yeah.
What the hell what's going on here?
Daytona. Did not have a good Daytona.
Come on.
Wrecked at Daytona.
Come on. 3. There's got to be more points to win it.
So the interesting part on this front, and I guess I don't necessarily disagree with you, is I don't know if it speaks to, like, obviously how good Christopher Bell has done this year, but also how good William Byron's start of the year has been also.
Yeah, he had second place, too.
You know what I mean? So, like, I don't disagree, but, like, at the same token, I feel like you're discounting how good, frankly, those two
Also,
have
what is
just
the
been to start
record
the
win
year.
streak? What is it?
Oh, like in the modern era, quote unquote, it's 10.
Really? Who did that?
Richard Petty.
How many years ago was that?
1972 or 1 or 2 or something like that. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
But still impressive. 3 in a row.
Yeah. I mean, it's first since 2021. So
It was Hamlin or something.
Larson,
Larson.
the alleged best driver in the world.
But Bubba, 12th place?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, not bad. Could be a little bit better. But blown tire will do that.
Long
Can't-
season.
Can't control
When's
it.
the in-season tournament start?
Oh, we're not even close to that yet. Like another 9 weeks or something, at least. At least 9 weeks.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
intrigued to see how that plays out.
Who are you shouting out?
Shout out my Aunt Sheila.
Oh,
Her
hey, Sheila.
birthday
Oh, happy
tomorrow.
birthday. 29.
29. She just 29 tomorrow. Yeah, shout out. Happy birthday. Big Yankees fan. Tough blow to go, but
Kind of funny we mentioned Penfield off air today. Too.
yeah, Penfield, yeah. She didn't go to Penfield, Miners alum, but she had her son,
Shout out, Jack.
Jack, who went to Penfield. So, yeah, shout out.
Funny how that works. So, all right, we'll be back at it again next Wednesday. Big March Madness discussion, obviously, then. And
Notre Dame is getting killed, by the way.
sorry. Down go the Fighting Irish without a fight. But
It's been tough.
yeah. Either way, hey, back at it. Appreciate everybody listening and tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff. We will talk again next Wednesday, everybody.